let's look at a water box featuring powerful Squall Blastoise. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we are going to be taking a look at a powerful Squall Blastoise deck. I don't know exactly what we should call it. I mean, there's a title of the video that explains the premise entirely, but there's a couple of attackers that are pretty cool. This is a list that Stefan has put together for us. We're going to see it in action pretty soon. We'll run through the list in just a minute, but before we do, if you haven't already subscribed, then please consider doing so. Just click the button down below. It only takes a second. You can always unsubscribe if you like. And if you do enjoy this kind of content, then leave a like. It means that more people will get a chance to see these videos. So without further ado, we'll jump straight into PTCGO. We'll take a look at the list. So we're going to take a look at this Blastoise here. Powerful Squall is a really powerful ability. Obviously, Blastoise being a Stage 2 does make it a little bit awkward sometimes when you're trying to set it up, but it's a very, very powerful ability, and it's got a pretty solid attack as well. So let's run through it. 160 HP Stage 2 Water Pokemon. It has Powerful Squall, which means once before your turn, before you attack, you can look at the top 6 cards of your deck and attach any number of water energy that you find there to your Pokemon in any way that you like, and then shuffle the rest into the deck. So what we can do is we can use multiple powerful Squall Blastoise to set up a huge amount of energy on the field and then take some big knockouts. Now, what kind of attackers are we going to use? Well, we could use Blastoise itself. It does 150 with Hydro Tackle. It's a pretty solid amount of damage, but we've also got a couple of other options. Firstly, we have Palkia. Palkia has Hydro Pressure for 60 plus 20 for every water energy attached. Now, if we can get a ton of water energy onto Palkia, then we're going to be able to take some big knockouts with it. We also have Zero Vanish GX for 5 energy, 150 damage again, and then shuffle all of the energy from your opponent's side of the field into their deck. So we can potentially slow down decks like Pikarom in their tracks, remove all of their energy, and get going from there. That's our first option. We also have Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX. This is one of the first tag teams that came out way back in the day, and we figured we'd take one last look at it before it rotates away, because I think this particular card does disappear, but I'm happy to be wrong. Tell me that I'm wrong in the comments. Super Splash is a decent attack for 180. When we combine that with a couple of our other Pokemon, we can potentially two-shot things like Dragapult VMAX, but we're here for Towering Splash. It does 10 damage for 1 energy, which isn't great, but if we have 7 extra water, then it does 100 damage to each of our opponent's benched Pokemon. So if we're playing against something that has a lot of bench sitters, which occasionally you do, then we'll be able to take some pretty solid multi-prize turns. Our main attacker, though, is going to be our Articuno with Blizzard Veil. This is a really good card that just has never seen that much play because of the nature of the meta that it's been in. Blizzard Veil, really, really good. If this is your active Pokemon, then your opponent cannot target your benched Pokemon with supporters. So, Boss's Orders can't target down any of your benched Pokemon, which is really, really good. Cold Cyclone for 70 is also an excellent attack for 2 water energy. We do 70 damage and then move that energy off onto something else. So what we can do is we can set up ourselves an Articuno in the front line whilst we maybe get some energy onto our Palkia or Magikarp and Wailord in the bench. So there's a lot of flexibility there, but it's obviously our way of chipping some damage around before we use our big GX attack with Towering Splash. The rest of the list, pretty interesting. It's all built around, obviously, trying to get this Blastoise into play. We've got Quick Balls, we've got Pokemon Communications, we've got Rare Candies. We've also got 2 Ordinary Rod to shuffle energy and Pokemon back in. We only have 2 of these attackers, Magikarp, Wailord, and Palkia, so we want to put those back if they get knocked out. We can potentially do that. We've also got a couple of Switch and a couple of Air Balloon as well. We don't play Jirachi. Air Balloon can just sit on these Articunos with 2 Retreat, and that way they can move in and out of the active pretty easily. We also have a Power Plant to stop our opponent from using some frustrating abilities. It's not the perfect amount of Power Plants. We'd like to see more, but that's okay. We would much rather have a thick supporter line. We've got 4 Research and 4 Marnie in this list, as well as 1 Boss's Orders. We're not really concerned about what we attack into, because we're going to try and take our knockouts with our Magikarp and Wailord. Instead, we want to target down specific things as we go along. We also have a copy of Bill's Analysis as well. Now, it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of cards here. That's because our water energy count is 16. We've got a lot of energy in this list, and that is so that Blastoise is able to find them whenever we use Powerful Squall. There's nothing worse than using this ability and not seeing any of those energy. So what we'll do is we'll jump onto the ladder. We'll see if we can get a decent one with Blastoise, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's game time. Let's see if we can't get this deck to do the job. Thank you very much to Stefan for recording this one. It's a bit of a pet deck for him. He's always liked Magikarp Wailord, so we'll see whether it is going to work. We've won the coin flip, and we'll go first. We've got stage 2s that we want to set up, so we will try and do that. And this is actually a really good start for us going first. We've got ourselves a Articuno that we can put into the active. We've got a Palkia as well as that Blastoise on the bench. So I'm feeling really positive about this as long as everything goes well. And we are playing against Blacephalon, which is a really interesting one from my perspective. I think it's going to be a really, really strong matchup for us. We'll see how we go. We've found a Squirtle. We've got a Water Energy, which is good. I don't think there's anything else that we really need to do here. We can just pass this one and move on. The last thing we want to do is have our Air Balloon popped off by a Tool Scrapper or something like that, so we'll leave it there. And this Blacephalon, you'd have to think, is in a lot of danger here, although they still could very easily just flat out knock us out. So we don't want that to happen. Looks like they're going for a Zacian V here. Now, obviously, Blacephalon has a good time with Intrepid Swords, and this is a bad start for our opponent. As long as we find an energy here, we'll be in a really good spot. There's an energy. What we can do is we can attach this Air Balloon now. We'll probably play the Ordinary Rod to put the Palkia back in the deck. It's a shame we didn't find a Rare Candy. This Blastoise is going to go, but we've got our best chance to find something. Quick Ball is a solid option here. We might get rid of a Water Energy or a Marnie even. And find ourselves another Squirtle or an Articuno. We obviously want to have a Pokemon on the bench to move our energy to, because Cold Cyclone, it'll get a knockout, which is great, but we're going to move that energy onto our second Articuno. So now we need to make sure that we can retreat into it. And Stefan, please, we've just managed to find the second Air Balloon. That's impressive, to say the very least. Okay, so now we've got ourselves our Articunos that can move back and forth for the foreseeable future. Our opponent cannot afford to leave Blacephalons in the field of play, especially not in the active, because we'll be able to knock them out, and Jirachis will be able to knock out as well. So pretty solid here. They're going to switch into this Jirachi. They really need to find something to get going here, because we have just pushed way past them. Fiery Flint is a solid option if they have Welder and a Blacephalon, but if they don't, then they could be in a bit of trouble. Obviously, they did use their Zacian last turn to draw some cards. Intrepid Sword could have found them a Welder. Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're just going to be going for those extra cards now, and we are in such a strong position. We can attach to probably the Squirtle, to be fair, and then we can move our energy from the Articunos. Just move them back and forth, which will be great. The worst thing here, though, is we're going to lose our second Blastoise. This is why we play 2 copies of Ordinary Rod. We don't want to be forced to lose all these Pokemon all the time. There is our Ordinary Rod, so we might have been able to get into it there. A real disappointment, though. We've missed out on getting ourselves a Blastoise this turn. That's alright. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We've found ourselves some more Water Energy. We could potentially attach, but looks like Stefan, sorry Stefan, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed, is saying, no, we'll just attach, well, we won't attach, we'll just use the Articuno's effect to get ourselves our ability off. It's not a problem at all. So, looking okay. We've got the Rare Candy, we need to find the Blastoise. Our opponent is really struggling here. This is a bit embarrassing for them, really. We've taken 2 prizes already, and that Squirtle is a pretty solid pickup. We can bench that one. We can Quick Ball away an energy. Maybe find ourselves something like our Magikarp Wailord, which is a really, really good option for us here. Probably attach that energy and then Marnie, and that'll give us a fresh set of 5 cards that we can take a look at. Still missing those Blastoise, which is unfortunate, but we do at least have those Cold Cyclone Articunos ready to deal some damage. Our opponent really can't do that much here, and we're just going to move those energy straight onto our second Articuno. So I'm just in this nice little cycle. If our opponent can't deal with this, then we are in a really strong spot, even without the Blastoise. So feeling pretty solid. Looks like they are not in the position to realistically offer up too much of a threat. They're just going for Intrepid Sword again. So our Marnie's really slowing our opponent down here. And 2 rare candies, that is horrific news. Now we're trying to decide whether or not we research. I guess we have to. I mean, there's only so much that one man can do. Looks like Sam attached... Oh, not Sam. I've done it again. Stefan setting down another Squirtle. We do have the 1 Wartortle, so it's not a problem. Oh my word, we've managed to find 2 rare candies there. That is an absolutely crazy turn. And now we could potentially set ourselves up for a really big turn, dealing a ton of damage with that Magikarp Wailord. We've got 2 energy from our first powerful Squall. We'll attach one of them to the Magikarp Wailord, 2 to the Magikarp Wailord, and we've found 1 more as well. So that Magikarp Wailord is super close to being able to attack. We can retreat from this Articuno, Cold Cyclone, put this Zacian within 100 damage being knocked out, and we'll move those energies onto the Magikarp. Next turn, we can simply attach our energy from hand, and GX will be taking 3 prizes. We could potentially even take 4 if we do find our opponent putting down a second Jirachi. Obviously, the Blacephalon won't be knocked out unless they move it into the active, but we are in a really, really strong spot here. This Cramorant now, what do they use Spit Shot on? You'd have to think that they'd be trying to take out one of our Blastoise, but is it even worth doing? Do they even get a knockout? I think they do. But is it even worth doing? I mean, we've already got all of the energy in play that we need, and that prize that they take is not a massive deal. So we've found ourselves a research. We've got ourselves the energy for the attachment as well. So we're going to be able to GX attack here. Looks like Marnie is probably the best option for us again. And we've got ourselves a lot of good stuff here. We can deal a lot of damage to our opponents. Probably find the Wartortle to evolve our Squirtle on the bench. And then we can retreat into our Magikarp and Wailord. Now, we could realistically get ourselves a win very, very easily by attaching, attacking with our first attack for 180 into this Cramorant. So the chances of our opponent being able to knock out this Magikarp Wailord is pretty slim. Although I think a GX attack is probably a good option as well. We'll take 3 prizes there, and now we are well within our range of taking a big win. We've got Palkia on the bench, we've got Water Energy in hand, we've got a second Blastoise as a potential option. I feel like we are ready to win. There you go, our opponent just concedes. So there you go, a pretty fun experience. We've got a really cool option there, something that's a little out of left field that you could probably get yourself some wins with on the ladder. There is a lot of luck involved, and our attackers are a little kind of hot and cold, but you can see there that GX attack going off quite well. Definitely a fun little deck for us, and hey, a win's a win, right? Doesn't matter whether they draw poorly if you're drawing relatively well. Thanks very much to Stefan for putting together this list and recording the video for me. Always appreciate people coming along and doing some gameplay. If you want to see your gameplay featured on the channel, or a little bit of coaching on the side, then feel free to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the Sableyes_YT. Just send it through there. We're happy to take a look at it. Absolutely, 100% we will do that. If you haven't already subscribed, then please click the button just here. Over here there are some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and down the bottom is a playlist for more of our Rebel Clash content. Thank you very much for coming along, like the video, and we'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.